Myth or Memory, Episode 2, Giants Among Us, Redefining the Nephilim. When we picture giants, we imagine monsters towering, inhuman, and mythic. But what if that image is the first distortion? The word giant once meant something very different. It didn't always imply impossible size. It meant extraordinary, larger than life, or simply taller than most. In a world where the average height was 5 feet tall, someone nearing 8 feet would have seemed superhuman. Perspective makes legends. To the eyes of the small, the tall are gods. When explorers and historians recorded encounters with giant tribes, they weren't describing fairy tales. They were recording shock, real human astonishment at physical difference. Across Patagonia, North America, Africa, and Eurasia, similar stories appear. Tall people with unfamiliar customs, advanced tools, and knowledge that set them apart. Some vanished, others mixed into new lineages. Over time, memory turned into mythology, and flesh became fable. Even ancient art hints at this. Reliefs from Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Americas show figures towering over others, not always as deities but as leaders, warriors, or builders. Perhaps the artists weren't exaggerating stature but status, strength, or ancestry. Yet when later translators saw the word Nephilim, Anakim, or Rephaim, they assumed the impossible. The truth might be more grounded and more unsettling. The Hebrew word Nephilim comes from Naphal, to fall, the fallen ones. But fallen from where? Perhaps not from heaven, but from a prior civilization fallen into legend. Survivors of a world-ending event who carried remnants of lost technology and wisdom into the new age of darkness. To those who came after, they would seem like gods descended from the sky, giants in every sense that matters. In Genesis, these beings are said to be the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men, a poetic way of describing genetic or cultural mixing, one advanced, one primitive. The result, a generation of humans stronger, taller, sharper, feared by the rest, not monsters but hybrids of eras, maybe the first symbolic record of human intermixing between civilizations divided by catastrophe. Across the world, the story repeats with different names. The Jotnar of Norse myth, giants of frost and wisdom forever at odds with the gods. The Quinametzin of Mesoamerica, builders of Teotihuacan, wiped out in divine punishment. The Fomorians of Ireland, sea giants who fought the Tuatha De Danann, the shining ones. The Anakim and Emim of Canaan, mighty warriors of great stature. Separate lands, same archetypes. Always the same rhythm. Powerful people rise, intermix, and fall, leaving only bones and warnings behind. Could they have been connected? Or is this memory universal because it's real? The odds of identical myths evolving in isolation across continents are small, far smaller than the idea that humanity has always recycled a shared buried past. And then there's the evidence that doesn't fit tidy textbooks. Skeletons over 7 and 8 feet unearthed in North America and Asia, often quickly lost to private collections or labeled as measurement errors. Massive megalithic doorways and steps that seem designed for frames larger than ours. Legends of kings who ruled for centuries recorded not as fantasy, but as genealogy. Every anomaly dismissed as myth until the pattern itself becomes undeniable. But again, the most effective form of censorship is mockery. By turning giant into absurdity, they buried the human reality beneath cartoon exaggeration. The psyop wasn't just to make us doubt tall skeletons, it was to make us doubt the scale of our own past. Because if giants simply meant the remnants of an older, stronger lineage, then the Nephilim aren't gone. They're us, mixed, diluted, surviving in fragments of DNA, architecture, and myth. Humanity isn't a straight line of progress. It's a collage of forgotten eras where every person carries echoes of something older, taller, and greater. Maybe the Nephilim weren't monsters from the sky, but reminders of what humanity once was before catastrophe, before rewriting. And the reason their story had to be twisted into legend is simple. If we knew we came from greatness, we'd stop believing we're small. So the myth of giants isn't about height. It's about humility. It's about scale, not in inches, but in awareness. To the architects of deception, a population that knows its own potential is the true giant and must be kept sleeping. Look around. Athletes surpassing old human limits, children born taller each generation, ancient genetics resurfacing after centuries of dilution. The bloodlines didn't vanish. They adapted. They're proof that the past isn't gone. It's waiting. And like the ruins that still whisper from the dust, the truth doesn't disappear. It only hides until the next generation grows tall enough to see it again. Maybe giants never left us. Maybe they're just beginning to wake up.